I wonder what GSC UUBL was like pre-2019. Jolteon and Porygon 2 weren't in the tier back then. Jolteon is a dominant and defining Pokemon in GSC UUBL. It is commonly regarded as the second best Pokemon in the format. With lightning fast speed, high special attack, a great offensive typing, and access to growth, Jolteon is the most dangerous special attacker in the tier. Jolteon can fulfill several different offensive roles, and it does them all well. Jolteon is a very dangerous Pokemon on its own, and it's able to pass growth boosts, which powers up its teammates. Its high speed and stab electric moves let it offensively check some key threats. Jolteon has a major effect on team building, often forcing teams to use an electric resistant or immune Pokemon to counteract it. Jolteon is arguably the most splashable and consistent offensive piece in the tier. Simply put, its presence defines the GSCBL tier. Jolteon is a Pokemon that you absolutely need to be prepared for. Let's analyze the lightning Pokemon. Right off the bat, Jolteon is very dang fast. With 130 speed, the only thing that outspeeds Jolteon is the non-existent Electrode. It also means you speed tie with Aerodactyl. This is, of course, amazing on an offensive Pokemon like Jolteon. The fact that it basically always goes first makes it much more difficult to deal with. It also lets Jolteon offensively check Pokemon that are weak to its stab electric moves. Speaking of stab electric moves, Electric is a great offensive typing in GSCBL. Not that many Pokemon are resistant or immune to Electric, and there's a lot of flying and water types running around. Qwilfish, Tentacruel, Moltres, Charizard, and Articuno all get zapped by Jolteon. Jolteon also has a high special attack set of 111. If Jolteon chooses to run Thunder, it 3KOs Pokemon like Porygon 2, Kangaskhan, and Kingdra. The choice between Thunder and Thunderbolt is largely your preference. Jolteon's Thunder hits like a truck, but Thunderbolt's higher accuracy and PP can make it more consistent. Jolteon hits hard, and it hits even harder after using Growth. Growth turns Jolteon into an offensive monster. After a Growth, Thunder 2KOs Pokemon like Kangaskhan, Porygon 2, Kingdra, and Dragonite. These 2KOs can be achieved by Thunderbolt if spikes are up. Pokemon like Alakazam, Espeon, Houndoom, and Scizor get 2KO'd by both moves regardless. Growth Jolteon is an immense threat. It outspeeds everything and hits very hard after a Growth. It's one of the most common late game cleaners in the tier. Jolteon uses Hidden Power Ice and Growth sets, which pairs very well with its stab electric moves. It hits Pokemon resistant or immune to them, like Meganium, Donphan, Nidoqueen, and Venusaur. It also hits Dragonite for 4 times effective damage. Another move that makes Jolteon so effective is Baton Pass. With Baton Pass, you can pass its growth boost to a teammate. You don't just have to deal with Jolteon, you also have to deal with the fact that it can pass to a teammate. Pokemon like Kingdra, Alakazam, Lapras, and Moltres become much more difficult to handle when their special attack is boosted. GSC UUBL doesn't have that many phasers, and some of them, like Aerodactyl and Moltres, get electrocuted by Jolteon. Growth past Jolteon is a hugely defining offensive threat in this tier, and entire team styles have been birthed from it. Another great move that Jolteon has is Thunder Wave. Paralysis is very prominent in GSCBL, and Thunder Wave Jolteon is a common spreader. Thunder Wave greatly cripples Pokemon like Alakazam, Porygon 2, Espeon, and opposing Jolteon. Thunder Wave Jolteon can be used to support set of Pokemon like Sword Stance Tentacruel, Curse Ursaring, and Belly Drum Charizard and Clefable. Having a Pokemon with Thunder Wave that outspeeds everything is very handy and can save you against threats like Charizard. Jolteon is great at revenge killing the likes of Alakazam, Tentacruel, and Espeon. Even if they are out of Thunderbolt range, you can use Thunder Wave. It also helps against Growth Pass Lapras and Articuno. If Jolteon uses Thunder Wave, it actually becomes a decent answer to itself, since it resists electric moves and can cripple the opposing Jolteon. Jolteon's presence mandates an electric check on every team, and some teams use their own Thunder Wave Jolteon for this role. Substitute is another good option on Jolteon. Jolteon forces a number of Pokemon out, so you can use Substitute to ease prediction. Substitute also crucially blocks Thunder Wave, one of the best ways to check Jolteon. Jolteon is able to fulfill multiple different offensive roles. Jolteon can be a decent lead with Miracle Berry and Thunder Wave. It's able to outspeed and paralyze Alakazam leads, threaten Quillfish leads, and just pose an early game threat. With Miracle Berry, you can dodge paralysis from the likes of Alakazam and Porygon 2 for one turn. Jolt is more commonly used in the mid and late game though. It's a good mid game baton passer who can offensively check some top threats. There isn't much scarier than a Jolteon late game. It shines at cleaning up weakened teams thanks to its high speed and its power. Jolteon pairs well with a lot of other Pokemon. Spike support from Quillfish is fantastic for Jolteon. Jolteon beats every flying type, so all its checks are grounded and take Spike's damage. Spikes just make it more difficult to consistently deal with Jolteon. Jolteon pairs well with fire types, like Moltres and Houndoom. Jolteon can check the water types that trouble these fires, and in return, the fire types punish the Jolteon checking grass types. Fire types are also solid recipients of growth. Water types, like Kingdra and Lapras, also work well. They appreciate Jolteon's electric resistance, and in return, they check ground types. Water types, particularly Kingdra, also love Growth Pass. Flying types like Articuno and Dragonite similarly appreciate Jolt's electric resistance, and they check grass types. If Jolteon runs Thunder Wave, then paralysis abusers like Belly Drum Charizard are obviously good partners. Psychic types, like Alakazam and Espeon, appreciate Jolteon's ability to wear teams down. They appreciate Jolteon's ability to paralyze foes, and running them alongside Jolteon forms a deadly special offense. As expected, they love Growth Pass. Growth Pass Jolteon is a fantastic partner for every special attacker really. Fast special attackers, like Alakazam and Espeon love it, and so do slower tanks, like Kingdra and Lapras. Jolteon is a near perfect offensive Pokemon. Despite Jolteon's excellence though, it doesn't come without flaws. Jolteon doesn't have the best physical defense or HP, so physical attackers like Porygon 2, Kangaskhan, and Muk can all threaten it. Jolt's ground weakness makes this even worse, given that some Pokemon use ground moves as coverage or as stab. Jolteon also despises paralysis. If Jolteon gets paralyzed, it loses all its speed, and as a result, all its threat potential. Jolteon must be wary of threats like Thunder Wave Alakazam, Jolteon, Porygon 2, and Dragonite, Dragon Breath Kingdra, and Thunder Paralysis from opposing Jolteon, Dragonite, and Ampharos. Jolteon doesn't have the best longevity. It takes spikes damage, it can't afford to run rest, and it's frail on the physical side. If you choose to run Miracle Berry, then you sacrifice leftovers and have even worse longevity. Jolteon suffers from 4 move slot syndrome. It has to use Growth and Electric Stab, but it wants to use Baton Pass, Hidden Power Ice, and Substitute. These flaws don't stop Jolteon from dominating though. Jolteon is a top 3 Pokemon in GSCBL,